A bill is now headed to Governor Bill Lee's desk that lawmakers say would get rid of Tennessee's long-standing guilty by association rule. The bill just passed in the Senate yesterday. Senator Ramesh Akbari says the legislation is a result of several years of collaborations and a summer study. The bill says in order to be held criminally responsible for the conduct of another person, they must act with intent to benefit in the proceeds or the results of the offense.
Because you have people across the state who are incarcerated for crimes they did not commit because of the people in their lives who did commit those crimes.
If Governor Lee signs that bill into law, it would go into effect July 1st.